States. Okay, the proof of that was that episode of Good Times, which I'm pretty sure everybody's seen that now. When JJ put up the picture of so-called, it was Ned DeWino, but he said, that's my Jesus, black Jesus. And then Florida Evans, the blackest, pygmiest looking bitch. She's gonna sit up there and take that down. She cursed them all out. This is my Jesus. And put this cracker back up there on the wall.
He was getting blessings when the black Jesus was up. The family was getting blessed.
Right.
Things started working out for him.
Exactly. So, okay, let him finish. Go ahead.
And my water, my wool, and my flax, my oil, and my drink.
Right, and that's what happened. When these women come over, that's why majority of our women get with these damn devils. They want to live high on the high end of life, man. You know? Yep, go ahead.
The majority of the Northern Kingdom women, it's like you go on Vice, you see a documentary of how them Asherite men were hitting Papa donkeys. But I don't know if y'all brothers have seen that.
I ain't seen, but I heard some crazy shit, mountains and all that shit.
Yeah, because you have what happened in the fucking Northern Kingdom. I'm about to bring out a scripture on that. They're so heavy into that, and Catholicism. Like if I would go down one of the blocks in Puerto Rico, it'd be maybe about 20, 30 houses in one block out of all 30. I bet it's about 25 houses with something like this on, man.
With a bunch of those.
With a bunch of that. With angels, man. At one day I was walking from my cousin's house, and I walked through like a little alley, and it was big. It was this big ass poster. I said, what the fuck is that? I looked. I said, God damn. I said, yeah, that shit is wild because I'm gonna bring out the scripture.
All right, go ahead.
This is Hosea 5.
There's a lot of scriptures coming out, brothers. Just hold the scripture, stay locked in it. You know, spirit jump on any of y'all brothers. I got points to make, man. Hey, because basically, we're not getting followers, man. These are all leaders right here, man. You see these men that's before you? You got the apostles and the other brothers down there on that corner, firing, blazing it up, cursing Esau the fuck out. You got other camps over there, cursing Esau out, man. We ain't playing, man. And these are all leaders, man. All right? These are all leaders. The brothers on the camera and the rest of the brothers out there in GMS, man. So the spirit get on you brothers, you know, bring your point out, man. That's how it goes. And you notice everything is still in order. All right? And it's still edifying. Go ahead, brother.
This is the Hosea 5 and 3. I know Ephraim, and Israel is not hid from me.
Right, and the Lord know Ephraim. And that's how we know Ephraim. All right, like the brother was just speaking about Puerto Rico, that's Ephraim. Yep. That's the tribe of Ephraim. All right? So don't let these niggas tell you non-black people. There's no such thing as black people anyway. All right, man, that's a damn commercial term that the so-called white man put on you as a byword and a byproduct, which that goes back to the curses back in Deuteronomy 28. Yep. So don't sit up there and come up here talking stuff and you don't know now. Every time you talk, you stick your foot in your mouth, you stick that goddamn horse weed in your mouth, you stick your hand in your mouth. It's best for you to just shut the hell up, man. So you want to sit up there and pop and try to come at us, now you're going to really get it, man. And I ain't talking about on no physical carnal level, I'm talking about on a spiritual level. It is going to become physical because why? The Lord is going to put you to death. All you niggas into that Egyptology and all that black Africanism, man. Because that's not the truth and that's not the way that the Heavenly Father set up for us, man. But go ahead, brother.
This is back to Hosea 5 and 3. I know Ephraim and Israel is not hid from me. For now, O Ephraim, thou committest whoredom.
Right, and that's the so-called Puerto Ricans. Keep Caesar Borgia up, brother, right now. Keep that Caesar. That's one of the main whoredoms. And when it says Ephraim, Ephraim don't just mean the tribe of Ephraim. Ephraim represents the whole northern kingdom when you read in the scriptures. Ephraim was the leader of the northern kingdom. Because why? The so-called Puerto Ricans, they set the trends and the rest of the land tribes follow. Just like the so-called Negro. Let me just make this point. Just like the so-called Negro. They set the tribe and the rest of Benjamin and Levi follow. Because those are the two heads. All right, go ahead, brother.
It's like Puerto Rico with the reggaeton.
Exactly.
You got fucking Issachar bumping that shit, man. Because down here in Richmond, Virginia, it's a vicinity of Richmond called Southside. You don't see nothing but Zebulon bumping Issachar, having the whole Ephraimite swag, man.
Yeah,
they acting just like Ephraim, man.
And guess what? You know who really invented reggaeton? Who was the first one with that so-called reggaeton? Zebulon. El General. He's from Panama.
Yeah, Panama did create that.
Right? But it blew up. It blew up when Ephraim got it. Now it blew up. And I remember back in the days when we had y'all brothers probably seen the Apostle Gabar show, the old school that we used to have. In the back used to be this dude that Elder Zion Dean called him Light Bulb Head.
Yeah, light bulb.
He was a short midget Ephraimite with a big ass fucking head, man.
Shaped like a light bulb.
Shaped like a light bulb. But he used to, he'd be at the school, we'd be having a deep class going into Revelations and then into the Greek, you know, 'cause we always went deep in the scriptures with Apostle Tahar and the rest of the brothers. Then all of a sudden you hear that. You're like, what the fuck is that? That shit was sounding demonic as hell. Right? And we like, what kind of music is that? Now, 17 years later, that's the normal now, man. That goddamn reggaeton. You see?
Another thing to show, living in Puerto Rico, actually, Ephraimite, they actually, in some of the nights, they get down to reggae. But when it comes to like that rap music, that should have cleared out the club, man. That should have cleared out the club in Puerto Rico, man. Hold on, finish it up. This is they would not frame their doings to turn it to their power. It's like when as soon as you come up to a Puerto Rican, I remember me going out there in Puerto Rico, I used to talk to a lot of those Ephraimites, man. They used to say fuck the Bible, fuck you, what is it? El Verdado, Judío, Blanco, no Negro, the real Jews is white, not black. I used to get a lot of it'd be like little ass kids. They'd be like, man, fuck you, fuck you, man. They'd be like, yo, fuck you, fuck the Bible, man.
That's why the Lord said slay utterly old and young.
Right.
And none died in any parish being innocent. Old and young. Them the same old demons that was back in the reincarnation that was going up against Yahweh Shai. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Nothing. But a good point about Ephraim, that's why a lot of them name are Ephraim. I remember a lot of them. It's just a lot of, grew up, there was a lot of Ephraim. And some things is just spiritual. Hey, I'm talking about, I remember going back when I was in 9th grade, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then I had this, I thought he was Judah. Dude looked like a little light-skinned heavy D, cool as hell. His name was Zebulon, and he was from Panama. You know, I never forget it. I said, hey man, you know, he said, I ain't black, man. I said, the fuck you mean you ain't black? He said, man, I'm Panamanian. And we called him Zeb. His name was Zebulon, man.
See,
Certain
niggas
things in
on
the
that
spirit.
old bullshit, because in this world, they teach you, you go by the so-called color of a man's skin. If you dark skin, you black. If you light skin, you white. If you in between and you a mulatto, you're mixed. That's bullshit, man. That's not scriptural at all, man. That don't determine who you are. You got, and because you go to Ireland and Scotland, y'all think that there's crackers all over there, right? Well, guess what? You got some of the darkest so-called Negroes over there. You got a lot of West Indians that got descendants that go back to Scotland and Ireland.
Yep. And add on to that, just like the Dominican Republic, just like Puerto Ricans, I say this all the time, just like Puerto Ricans, they have the free, they don't need a passport to come over here. In Dominican Republic, they don't need no passport to go to Spain. They can just really get up and go to Spain. Also Cuba, there are a lot of Monastites over there in Cuba. It's easier for them to go to Spain or to Ireland and those places than it is to come over here. Just like Benjamites. There's a lot of them over there in England too, man.
Hey, another footnote too, when you watch that documentary, I think it's Mustafa 21, they brought out a good point. When Hitler started, before he started killing his fellow countrymen, them so-called Jews, them Amalekites, he first started killing off all the babies that was born by black men. That was going way back then. So there's always a lot of black, Jake been all over the world, man. They've been used, some in captivity, some migrated over there for work. Man, Jake been all over the world, man. Get that shit out of your mind, everybody from Africa. That's some dumb niggas that on that bullshit, man.
Right.
You can talk about the Inquisition. Because when time when Queen Isabella and Ferdinand, they made a decree to knock out the
so-called Jews out of Spain. Yeah, that was in 1492. That's why Columbus brought his monkey ass over this way, because Columbus was a so-called Jew. And during the Inquisition, he had to get the hell out of Spain because them devils were being pushed out of Spain by Ferdinand and Isabella. They were pushing so-called Jews out. Columbus was a so-called Jew. As a matter of fact,
Why he's grabbing that? Another thing, when you look up 1492, you had the last stronghold that was held by the Moors in Granada. That was all Israelites, man. They was into different customs and everything. When you go do the research on the Moors, it took them 7 years to conquer like Europe, Spain, Portugal, and over 700 years to relinquish that power, man. And they don't hardly talk about them. Like
and check this out, which they were Israelites that were going off into that to the philosophy of Islam. Okay, because that religion of Islam has spread, which was set up by Israelites, which was so-called Negroes. But now, like the brother said, you got to get it out of your mind. One of the last strongholds, like he said, was in Spain, Granada. The first slaves did not come from Africa. They came from Spain. You had before slaves came from Africa, they were getting slaves from the Netherlands, from Green. You can look all this up. Greenland,
Portugal,
Iceland, Portugal. All right. This is before they brought the bulk of the main slave trade happened. You know, going into the 1600s from the west, late 1600s from the western interiors of Africa, west coast of Africa. But prior to that, they were bringing so-called Negro slaves from, like I said, Portugal, Spain, the Netherlands. All right, that's why when you check that book out, Nature Knows No Color Lines, you see all those different coats of arms from different cities in Europe, Holland. And you got brothers in Holland, GMS Holland. Them brothers is out there strong. You got, Alaska, you got a brother in Alaska. Hawaii?
The new cat.
Oh, yeah?
GMS, I think it's GMS.
Oh, that's heavy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So see, the
Yeah,
Lord
Howard,
this word, and why would the Lord put this word out there, camps out there? Because why? There are Israelites out there. All right? But now, go ahead. This brother got that book about the Inquisition and everything.
See, it's page 135. It says World Explorer magazine. It says the Christopher Columbus that we all learned about in school may have been an entirely different sort of person than we are taught. It is possible that Columbus knew perfectly well that he would reach a new world rather than China, as he told the Spanish royalty. It says,
and they show you that in that movie. What was it? 1492.
Yep.
They said, look, those are the people. They mentioned the Book of Ezra.
Yeah.
So if the Book of Ezra was of no validity in a comic book, why did they say that according to the Book of Ezra, you got the other tribes of Israel is over here? Yeah, you got clowns saying that, man. But I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
It says, despite the popular grade school depiction, there's a great deal of evidence that Columbus was not actually Italian, but a Spaniard who had assumed the identity of a young Italian wool merchant whom the Spaniard had once met, and who had died at sea. By coincidence, the young Italian wool merchant from Genoa, Italian Genova, had the same name as himself, at least in translation. Cristobal Colon, known to us as Columbus, was by some evidence a Spanish Jew. For this reason, he decided to conceal his identity. Also, he was in possession of several maps that showed the coast and islands of North and South America.
I forget the name of the Jake. There was a Jake, which he was a Moor.
Prince Henry the Navigator.
Prince Henry the Navigator, and we know who he is in the reincarnation. Actually, he's out here in D.C. today. The spirit got him out here. But anyway, there was a so-called Jake, a so-called Negro, pardon me, which was an Israelite, but he was calling himself a Moor, Prince Henry, the Navigator. That's how Christopher Columbus was able to get over here, because like it said in that book, which they write on that. Contrary to what they were teaching in the school, they knew the world wasn't flat. Christopher Columbus wasn't going to sail and see if he fell off the earth. They knew that the earth was round. They had all the records, the documents, they had maps back then. And if you go online, you can see some of the older maps, the ancient maps and everything.
Yeah, you can look for something called the famed Vinland maps that go back to the Vikings.
Yep.
And another map known as the Perry Reese maps. And that's where Esau got the information that there was land over this way. And the land was mapped out. Because the Vikings in 1070 AD were sailing across this way and established trade with Gad. That's 1070 AD. That's 400 and goddamn 22 years before Columbus came this way.